Hey, it's Shelby again. I wanted to kind of just jump on here and film another video while I have the free time. I have my dog. He's sleeping behind me. In this one, I don't know if he'll stay here through the whole thing because he might get a little rowdy, so I might have to kick him out. But another super informal video. You can see Zeus's pile of blankets over there. That's my dog Zeus. His bed's over there, and so his blankets are in the corner and you can see them, but I'm not gonna fix it because I honestly don't care. Super informal, probably not gonna edit this, or I'm gonna try to not have to edit this at least. But yeah, I thought I would just kind of share my story. It's not super dramatic, it's not crazy, but it's my story and it's how Jesus has worked in my life, and so I love it, I'm proud of it. And I'm hoping that even though it's not dramatic, that God can still use it to bless someone. So I guess I'll kind of just start from the beginning. I kind of grew up in church. It wasn't super serious. I wasn't forced to go or anything, but I would go just to really hang out with my friends, not really to build a relationship with Jesus or anything, just to play with my friends and to have fun, I guess. I wasn't super serious about even the lessons or memorizing the verses. I kind of just did it to do it, and because that's what we were supposed to do, so that's what I did. That kind of continued throughout my life, throughout even middle school, starting in youth instead of the kids. I would kind of play the church game, play the card, however you want to say it. On Sundays and Wednesdays I would go and I would raise my hands and I would be super into it, but pretty much immediately leaving the church I would go back to living for the world and living as I thought that I needed to live for the world and for the people around me. I wasn't a Christian in any sense of the word. I didn't even really care to be a Christian. I was probably a cultural Christian, I guess you could say. I mean, I live in the Bible Belt. I've always lived in the Bible Belt, and so pretty much everyone around me is a Christian, but it didn't mean anything to me. It wasn't a relationship type thing. It was just kind of a label that we gave ourselves because we went to church. And that's kind of just how I lived my life for about 15, 16 years of it. Then I guess around 7th or 8th grade, I started going through a pretty rough battle with depression and anxiety. It took a pretty hard toll on me and the people around me. It was not easy to go through in any way. And that's kind of just how I lived my life, just in kind of a dark hole, I guess you could say. I was pretty heavy. I had some good days, but most of my days were not great, and even when I would pretend that they were, they really weren't, and I was really struggling to kind of keep my head afloat during that time, and it lasted for quite a while. My freshman year of high school was pretty great, actually. I wasn't too bad in the depression sense. I still had pretty bad anxiety, but I could tell my depression was getting a little bit better because it wasn't a constant thing. It was just every once in a while I would have a pretty bad day, but overall it was a good year. I had a lot of fun. It wasn't a good godly year, that's for sure. I made a lot of mistakes and I did a lot of things that I'm not proud of. But my sinful nature, my flesh nature, was having a lot of fun, and it was, for me, it was a lot of fun, and so I had a pretty good time my freshman year. I ended up moving houses for the first time. My freshman year I lived in the same house for about 15 years, and then I ended up moving, and it was great. We loved our new house. My whole family loved our new house, and then shortly after that, the summer before my sophomore year, I found out we were moving to Texas. For those of you who don't know, I'm originally from a small town in Oklahoma, and I had lived in that town for 16 years of my life. I had never even moved houses until freshman year. That was my first time even moving, period. So it was quite a shock, and especially because I was going through that battle with depression and anxiety, it kind of spiked it a little bit, just because I've never been good with change. I still struggle with change a lot, and this was a giant change in my life. I would have to meet new people for the first time. I'm a pretty friendly person, especially now, more so than I was, but it still really freaked me out, the idea of having to meet new people and make new friends, because I had the same best friends since I was in elementary school, so I never really had to do that. I never really had to get out of my comfort zone. So it was quite scary, to say the least. I didn't realize then how much of a blessing it will be, or it would be, and how much it needed to happen, because I don't think that I would be where I am now if I didn't move. But it was definitely a struggle then, and it was really hard to see why it was happening, and I really struggled with that. And later in my sophomore year, we had moved in October, and then starting around December, my grandmother had some pretty intense health issues. She was in a coma for off and on for about 2.5 months. And then at the beginning of February, right before my birthday, she actually ended up passing away. And I had experienced death a couple of times in my life, but nothing as impactful as this one. I wasn't super close with the other people in my family that had passed away, or the people I had known just in the community that had passed away, and so this was the first death that I experienced that felt a little bit more personal, because I actually had a relationship with her and I was close with her, and I loved my grandmother. I still love my grandmother. She was a very, very influential person in my life, and she still is. But yeah, her death kind of shook me a little bit. It put a lot of things into perspective with my faith and what needed to be important in my life. She was struggling a lot at the end, kind of just trusting, and she was doubting a lot, which made me have to be a little bit stronger for the both of us. And so I would go print out verses and bring to her ICU room, and she could read them as she was having those doubts or those fears, and it kind of forced me to have faith for the both of us, which I now realize was a huge blessing in my life. And I think that is one of the main things that God used that hard experience for, was to grow me in my faith. And so I'm thankful for that experience. It's still one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing that I've ever gone through. But I can see now we're about 3 or 4 years out from that. And so I can kind of see the blessing and how God used that experience in my life. And so I'm very grateful for that. But fast forward a little bit more to I guess my junior year. I ended up meeting one of my best guy friends. We had a math class together, and I was just kind of talking to him one day about how I hadn't been able to find a church that I really wanted to go to, and he was like, hey, why don't you come with me? I go to Northeast Houston Baptist Church. And I was like, hey, I've been wanting to try out that church. And so I did, and I blew him off a couple times, but I ended up going on a few Wednesdays that year, and it was a lot of fun, and I really liked it. It definitely felt like a home to me, pretty much right off the bat, and so that was great. I felt like I finally found that church home. And so kind of going along in the summer of before my senior year, after my junior year, I finally made the decision to stop living for the world, and I decided officially that I was going to follow Jesus, and I was gonna try and forget the things of the world and live for him. And I was just kind of tired of living for the world. I was tired of having to be fake around my church people, but also be fake around my worldly friends, because I didn't really approve of what we were doing or what I was doing, but I was still doing it because I thought that's what I needed to do. And so I just felt really fake around everyone that I was around, and so I was finally just done. And so I decided that I was going to follow Jesus, and I was going to read my Bible, and I was going to go to church, and that's what I did. Starting my senior year, I pretty much went to church every Wednesday, every Sunday, every activity outside of that I tried to go. I joined a life group, the Senior Girls Life Group at NEHBC. It was amazing. Our leader was amazing. She's still one of my best mentors. I love her. She's amazing. And it truly changed my life, and it still changes my life, just seeing the people at this church and how they truly love Jesus and how they truly live for Jesus. And so it was really helpful for me to kind of live life with those people, and I'm definitely far from perfect. I still definitely make mistakes, but I try a little bit harder now than I have ever before, because I have a purpose and I have that peace and love in my heart from Jesus. And so yeah, kind of fast forward to February in my senior year, I ended up getting baptized, and it was amazing. When I was a little bit younger, I had gotten baptized, but it wasn't believer's baptism. It was just kind of an action that I did because I thought it's what we were supposed to do. But this was a true believer's baptism, and it felt so much different and so much better than it did when I was 8 years old. And I could just tell that I was definitely changed, and that my heart was definitely changed in that moment. But yeah, I mean, fast forward to now, I'm about to start my second year of college, and this past year was rough. I definitely still have anxiety, and I still get really anxious, and I'm still very fearful of change and of the unknown, but I still have that foundation of faith, and I have that trust that I can get through whatever it is with Jesus. And I was very thankful to find out that we have a Chi Alpha at Sam Houston State University, and I joined that organization, and my small group are some of my best friends now. My roommate was a part of Chi Alpha, and we are now, she's one of my best friends. And yeah, I've loved getting to live life with them and just getting encouraged by them. And yeah, I mean, God continues to change my life every day. He continues to convict me of the things that I'm doing wrong, and I'm definitely still growing. I'm still going through the process of He's still pruning me and sanctifying me every day. But yeah, I am very thankful for this journey that I've gone on and the journey that I continue to go on. I love it. It's not easy, but it's worth it, and I have a purpose in life now than I didn't before. And so it makes every single thing that I have to go through, or that I do go through, worth it, no matter how hard it is. But yeah, I guess that's kind of it as of right now. I have a few more other things that are a little bit more in depth that I probably will do a different video on. But I just wanted this one to be kind of the overview of how the Lord has worked in my life. I do want to put this in here too. If y'all don't know who this Jesus is that I'm talking about and you want to know, feel free to leave a comment below or head over to my Instagram and DM me, and I would love to have a conversation with you. I'll leave my handle down in the link below. But yeah, he's amazing. It's the best relationship that I've ever had, the best relationship that I ever will have. And yeah, I hope that this video left you feeling encouraged and blessed. I hope that you got something from it, and that God can hopefully use me and in someone's life. If this changes one person's life, it'll be worth it. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope y'all enjoyed meeting Zeus. I'm sure he'll be a little bit more interactive in a future video. He's kind of tired today. But yeah, it was great talking to y'all today, and I will talk to you later. Bye.